everyone, to AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. You've got Aubrey Edwards, you've got Will Washington, you've got the hostesses with the mostesses ready, and
That's
it is
something.
That's something. I don't know. I do numbers. I don't do words. But we are here, and it is Double or Nothing week. This is the 6th Double or Nothing.
It is the 6th Double or Nothing.
So, as someone who doesn't have children, Double or Nothing is now going to kindergarten or first grade?
It would be going into first grade.
First grade. Wow, so big.
Isn't that
so
insane?
wonderful.
No, like when you really think about it, I remember watching the first Double or Nothing with my son, and he was in kindergarten at the time, and now he's going into middle school. So, like,
oh my God.
That is, time is just going crazy. And don't forget, folks, AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling, is presented by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph, memorabilia, or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. Love our friends at Upper Deck. I've got, like, we were just talking before the show, I've got so many Upper Deck cards that you cannot see on this desk. But, like, because the thing is, we do these Upper Deck reads every single week, and you see them on the show, and you see us go through our cards. All of my cards are still here. Like, every single one of them I've ever opened is right here. Like, I'm pretty sure we talked about Sky Blue like a week ago.
I have them designated in, like, little baggies that say, like, what edition it is, because they keep sending us new cards, because there's new cards that release all the time.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I just opened this pack looking for people who are doing the Double or Nothing this weekend, which, by the way, Double or Nothing is this Sunday, May 25th at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Funny enough, the first card I pulled out was from last year's Double or Nothing, where Darby Allin came through with the flamethrower. Yes. And I wanted to specifically put this up there because at the time of this recording, Darby Allin is the first and only wrestler to have summited Mount Everest.
Which is, it's saying, congratulations, Darby.
There's an AEW flag at the top. Like, how great is that? Like, that's awesome. Like oh, man.
I remember when this all began and all the discussion, like, 'cause it was almost 2 years ago that everything was being talked about, because it was before he hurt his foot the first time. And, talking about him scaling Mount Everest, for whatever reason, in my head, I always had it that there was a limit to where you would eventually reach. Like, I didn't even consider how far he would actually reach. And then when he did, my God, Darby Allin.
Yeah, I mean, we thought he was crazy before, but now he literally knows no bounds. He's been to the highest point of the world. So.
He has. So, yeah.
When he gets back, like, people are going to have a lot to deal with, because Darby is, like, on a whole new level. This is wild. Okay.
He's at the mountaintop.
He is at the mountaintop. So let's talk about this pay-per-view. I want to start off with our tag team championships. The tag team is currently held by the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, overseen by MVP. This is a dominant team, and they are going to be facing the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara. I'm really excited for this match, and I think that's an excellent pairing.
Yeah, well, especially when you think about the fact that Sons of Texas, Sammy Guevara, and Dustin Rhodes are the current holders of the the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. And they've had those since last summer. They've been holding on to those quite some time. And to think about the fact that now they have the chance to walk away. Dustin is already draped in gold because he's also ROH six-man world champion. And just thinking about the fact that he has the opportunity to walk away with more gold. I told Dustin about a year ago I wanted to see him go on a belt collector run. Just, like, start picking every belt he can possibly get up. And the fact that he has the opportunity to walk away with another set of gold, I am quite looking forward to this match. Dustin matched up with Bobby Lashley is such an interesting visual, thinking about the fact that those are two big dudes. And I don't think Dustin's size already gets sold quite well, but I think it's almost undersold still. Like, you just don't understand how massive of a human being Dustin Rhodes is.
It was one of those things where I didn't realize how big he was watching on TV, because like you see all these wrestlers and they're all larger than life, right? And then the moment you meet Dustin, you're just like, you are a scary guy. But at the same time, he's like this really sweet, soulful person. So, but I know he has that, like, that streak in him that's like, I am out for blood. I am going to do whatever I possibly can to win this title. And funny enough, I pulled my own card. But as someone who has to hold all of those belts when someone comes to the ring with all of them,
Yes.
selfishly, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay if you don't come with 3. But like personally, as a friend of Dustin, I would really love to see him have a 3rd belt that he can carry. He would need another shoulder because it's a lot of surface area to be covered in gold.
But the Hurt Syndicate has transformed very recently, and to now know what the Hurt Syndicate has up against them, but at the same time has behind them, and knowing that the Hurt Syndicate is going to be moving forward as this complete unit, and they've got the AEW World Tag Team titles, it's hard to bet against them at this stage. I think that Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, as the tag team champions, are going to continue to run with this gold. And they're very difficult to bet against.
They really are. Like, if you see them in the ring, singles or tag, they're just completely dominant. Like, it is without question, they are some of the strongest competitors on the roster. And then when you have someone like MVP behind you, making sure that those matchups are great, who's incredible on the microphone and just a fantastic business guy, doing what he can to put his guys in the best position. Like, this is a team that is just set up for success. So it's interesting going into it. I'm very, very excited to watch this match, but it's hard to know who's going to go one way or another. Like, Sammy is very unpredictable and could do a lot of crazy things. Dustin is just, has been doing this time and time again for across 5 decades now, I think, at this point. Mm-hmm. So he has more experience than anyone else in this ring. But I mean, we've got this incredible tag team in the Hurt Syndicate. So this could go either way.
Could go either way. And another match that is taking place on this card that could definitely go either way, because we've seen this outing go either way. We're talking about Ricochet going one-on-one with Mark Briscoe in a stretcher match.
Oh, my God.
Mark Briscoe threw out the challenge last week on social media, and Ricochet answered. Tony Khan made it official. These two individuals are two of the best that AEW has to offer. And both are very vocally known for very different reasons.
I was curious how you were going to get here.
Yeah. And that, we always love hearing from Mark Briscoe. We don't always love hearing from Ricochet because he's got a lot of trash to talk. But at the same time, it's brought these two together in a way I don't think anybody was expecting. Mike Bailey said it best not that long ago, where we were talking about, the fans have really come down on Ricochet for being bald. But then you kind of look at it and you're like, but Mark Briscoe's also bald. And then, Mike said, yeah, but Ricochet acts bald. And like, you knew what he meant when he said that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I absolutely get that. Like, you fully understand what it means for somebody to act bald. And that is Ricochet. But this time, stretcher matches are something special in professional wrestling. We've rarely ever seen them, and when we do, they're always brutal. We're talking about a match where you have to strap your opponent to the stretcher and move them, and that can there's a lot that goes into having to incapacitate your opponent that much. And the fact that it's reached this level between Mark Briscoe and Ricochet, it's really hard to pick a winner in this match because of the fact that I think Ricochet has been on fire this year. I think I am a big Ricochet fan, and I almost have to shield myself when I say that because of the fact that
there's a little asterisk there.
Well, because he's really good at what he does, he really gets under people's skin, and I definitely see why that is. But also, whatever. But at the same time, I love Mark Briscoe. Yeah, I was going to say, but at the same time, I love Mark Briscoe. Yeah, he is genuinely one of the greatest humans I have met in professional wrestling. He is so kind. But at the same time, when that bell rings, he becomes a complete maniac. When that red light turns on, it's not just when the bell rings. When that red light is on, Mark Briscoe is on a completely different level. And for those two to be in the ring one more time with each other with this stipulation, I'm actually nervous for these guys.
I am too. Like when you have that extra added stipulation, it's always kind of fascinating to see how people change their approach to something. Like Ricochet, you and I are both fans of as a wrestler, maybe not as a person in this current moment because he is a little mean. But I've been a fan of Ricochet for a long time. I actually dug up a picture that I took with him before I was ever in wrestling at like a convention. So I've been a fan of Ricochet for a very, very long time. But as you know, Mark Briscoe is one of my good buddies. He's my trios partner. We are successful in in-ring competition with each other. So I'm always going to be in Mark Briscoe's corner. But these two guys are both great to watch by themselves in the context of like a standard wrestling rule set match, right? As soon as you let more rules go out the window, who knows what's going to happen? It totally opens the floodgates. We could see some really, really creative stuff. So from a wrestling standpoint, I think I'm more excited to see this match because it has a lot of opportunity to be creative in a way that I don't think a lot of other matches really have had the opportunity yet.
I could definitely agree with that. And I think to do it in a stretcher setting is going to be excellent. It's going to be phenomenal. And that's going to be happening Double or Nothing. It is this Sunday. It is in Glendale, Arizona. Yes. You want to get your tickets, AEWTix.com. Be there in person. We've got so much more to talk about. AEW Unrestricted. We're going to be talking about more matches right here. Stay tuned. AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will. We're talking about Double or Nothing, which is happening this Sunday, May 25th, Desert Diamond Arena, Glendale, Arizona. Get your tickets, AEWTix.com, or watch it on traditional pay-per-view. You know, it can't be Double or Nothing without talking about what's become one of the craziest annual traditions in AEW, and that is Anarchy in the Arena. And it's happening once again. Yes. And we've got explosive teams that you wouldn't have even expected to be on the same team at this stage, but we've got the Death Riders teaming with the Elite, and on the other side, you got guys like Samoa Joe, you got Swerve Strickland, you got Willow Nightingale, Kenny Omega. Like, thinking about the experience in this match, like when you think about Anarchy in the Arena, and I think about 2 years ago, right, and it was the former Death Riders, the BCC, right? They were up against the Elite, and now we've got all of a sudden Jon Moxley on the same team as the Young Bucks. And the fact that they were against each other at one point and now they're on the same team feels almost sacrilegious. But here we are. There's clearly an alliance between the Elite and the Death Riders. We still don't fully know the nature of what's going on with these guys. But we do know that they've got some common enemies, guys like Swerve Strickland, who you just brought up. And in that image, in that card, if for those watching on the video version, Swerve is wearing the AEW World Championship, a belt that he won from Samoa Joe. So, like, those two have so much history with each other.
It's so deep.
Right. And, like, how can those guys coexist? You know, Swerve and Samoa Joe, like, we saw Joe put Swerve through the contract signing that Swerve signed in his own blood. Like, those two go back completely. And to think about the fact that now they're going to have to be on the same team. They're going to have to coexist. Kenny Omega, his previous Anarchy in the Arena experience was tied to the Young Bucks. He was on the same team with them the last time he was in Anarchy in the Arena, and now he's going up against them. And even when you think about Stadium Stampede and the fact that it was always Kenny and the Bucks together, and now he's opposite them. And there's champions in this match. We've got the international champion and the world champion. And then one more factor is this is the first time that women will have competed in Anarchy in the Arena, because Marina Shafir, Willow Nightingale will also be in this match. Like, this feels like such a monumental match to be happening right now, in such a time where AEW TV just feels so hot. And to know that it's all going to come together in this explosive manner. And thinking about hot, we saw Fire last year. Like, when we think about the idea
we let a dude on fire, there was a car accident. Like, what possibly could more happen?
Yeah, I know. And just thinking about how much has taken place over the years in Anarchy in the Arena, and now we're going to be doing it one more time. How could they possibly top what's been done before? And we're in a new setting, like thinking about how those Las Vegas fans have seen Anarchy in the Arena many years. But Phoenix is not. And those fans in Glendale are going to be in for a treat and something they've never seen before. That's what Double or Nothing is truly all about, and I'm so excited for this.
One of the things I'm really excited about, and I mean, we say it on this podcast all the time, like a broken record, like after each pay-per-view, it's like, how is this pay-per-view better than the last one? But it's legitimately something we said at like 5:30 in the morning after the very first Stadium Stampede. I'm like, this was so great. How can we possibly top it? And then the next year we did. And then, okay, now we're going back to live crowds. How are we possibly going to top this? Oh, let's transition this into Anarchy in the Arena. And that first one ended up being a 5-star match, which was insane. We have all this awesome imagery from it. Like the picture of Eddie Kingston walking down the ramp with a gas can about to light somebody on fire is forever, no pun intended, burned into my brain.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's allowed to take up real estate because it's freaking awesome and badass. So every year, the fact that Anarchy in the Arena, somehow these guys are just so creative. They find new ways to push the limits of what is actually possible in a match like this. And I love that AEW gets to do things like this and have these interesting settings where we can create these cool stories. And also, just as you mentioned, like with Willow and Marina in this, it changes up the story a little bit. It's the first time we've had women competing in Anarchy in the Arena. And the last time we saw Willow and Marina, they were in a match together. And they both got pretty beat up. So, and that was, in the confines of everything's cool. You only can do so many things. But now it's like, okay, we're just writing all the rules off. My job in Anarchy in the Arena as a referee is just make sure nobody dies. Like,
and good luck.
Everything else, yeah. Oh, buddy. It's just, you just kind of like drink an extra cup of coffee and hope for the best. That's what the day feels like.
And honestly, I think the thing I'm most excited about is that, of everybody I named, there's at least 4 people in this match that have competed in Anarchy in the Arena before. But that's just them. When you think about everybody else, like this is a fresh match for these guys and gals. And just thinking about the fact that anything can happen with any of these individuals. I was just rewatching the contract signing segment. It's one of my favorite segments I've ever worked on, but it was the contract signing and I've worked on a lot of contract signings, so it's hard to pick out like a favorite, but one of my favorites was Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné. And leading
prior to last year's Double or Nothing.
Yep, prior to last year's Double or Nothing. I was just rewatching that segment. And one day I would love to tell the story behind that segment. But I was just rewatching that, and like the way Willow turned it on at the very end of that segment and put Mercedes through that table, and you just saw this fire in Willow and a crowd on their feet. And it just reminded me as I was watching that we're about to see Willow hit that level again inside Anarchy in the Arena. But then Marina Shafir has been waiting for something like this, and to know that she gets to do this it's going to be insane. And
Marina is legitimately a scary person and probably the scariest person of all of the people you named involved in this match.
Right.
So probably the most unpredictable, but also the scariest. So good luck, whichever ref needs to follow her around.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so looking forward to this. Anarchy in the Arena is always a blast. It's always crazy. It's always anarchy, and it's never a match you want to miss. Also on tap, we have got FTR, and this is a very, very different FTR than we've seen in the past, because this FTR has Stokely Hathaway in their corner, and we've yet to fully see what this version of FTR is capable of. But we've got FTR going up against Nigel McGuinness, returning to the ring once again, and he is teaming with the former TNT champion Daniel Garcia. This match has so much emotion behind it, so much stakes behind it. When you think about the fact that FTR has been on a tear since turning on Adam Copeland back at Dynasty, and the fact that FTR has been essentially bullying Tony Schiavone, and Nigel McGuinness standing up for his broadcast partner from Collision, Daniel Garcia, who's had such a history with FTR, and now Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness teaming together just feels like, when you think about who Nigel McGuinness is as a performer, when you think about what he's brought to the table, over the last multiple decades, over 25 years in the ring. And then you think about Daniel Garcia, and you think about who some of Daniel Garcia's inspirations are in being the wrestler he is today. And now knowing that he gets the team with Nigel McGuinness, this just feels like the right team. And knowing that they're going up against FTR, and again, it's a brand new FTR. We don't know what this FTR is capable of. And that could potentially be scary for Nigel and Daniel, but also they could be prime for the picking. And like I said, I am just very excited to see Nigel McGuinness. It's always exciting to see him in a ring. When that music hit back at All In last year, I felt the goosebumps for everybody, for him to get in there with Bryan Danielson back at Grand Slam, and now to step into a ring once again. Aubrey, how are you feeling about this?
So hear me out. Like, I've been a fan of FTR for a long time, but the moment that you get FTR hair and FTR bald in the ring, and they start talking crap about my buddy Tony Schiavone, one of my close personal friends, like, I don't care. Like, Stokely's on my shit list too, because he lined with them. So Tony Schiavone is one of the greatest human beings on the planet. So much so that you can see with Nigel being as snippy as he is and kind of like not on the side of Tony Schiavone frequently throughout commentary, coming to the aid of Tony Schiavone. That should tell you how passionate Nigel McGuinness is about this. And when we look at it from the other side, we have Daniel Garcia, who's one of the greatest up-and-coming technical wrestlers in wrestling. Along with that, you have him paired with Nigel McGuinness, who is one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. Like, he goes down as one of the greatest pure champions in ROH history. So you have these two guys together, who I'm sure for them is a goddamn treat, versus FTR, which, as much as I don't like them, they are one of the greatest tag teams to ever live. So this, from a technical, both in the actual type of wrestling, but also just technically wrestling standpoint, this is technically going to be one of the best matches, I think, from a construction standpoint on the entire card. It's crazy. Like, as you were talking in Anarchy, how crazy things have changed over the last few years, like seeing the different pairings happening in Anarchy, but then seeing how alliances change and who is willing to be in the ring with who at any given point. Like, it's part of what makes being an AEW fan awesome, is seeing these characters and these wrestlers grow and change over the course of time has just been so rewarding and wonderful. And I'm so excited every time we get to pay-per-view season, because we get to watch all of these awesome, cool matches, independent of whatever stories attached to them. It's just going to be really freaking cool wrestling. And I'm stoked for that. So we've got a little bit more to talk about here, talking about Double or Nothing happening this Sunday. AEWTix.com if you want to get your tickets. If you can be there, it's at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. It's on traditional pay-per-view. Yeah, there we go. All right, we got a little bit more to talk about. Hang out after the break. Coming back up.
AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will, and we're talking about Double or Nothing. It's this Sunday, May 25th, Desert Diamond Arena, Glendale, Arizona. Get your tickets, AEWTix.com, or join us on pay-per-view. It's available on traditional pay-per-view, and it's also on YouTube. We got to talk about the AEW Women's World Championship. We just saw Mina Shirakawa, the freshly all-elite Mina Shirakawa, become... She won. She actually won an Eliminator 4-way and pinned Timeless Toni Storm, and now has the opportunity to challenge the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm. This is the match we saw last year, but this is a very, very different Timeless Toni Storm than we saw a year ago. We've seen a complete rebirth of Timeless Toni Storm. And to be in the ring now with Mina Shirakawa, who is, when she was here before, she was outside of AEW trying to find her way in, and now being a part of All Elite Wrestling and having the opportunity. She's already pinned the world champion, and now she's just got to do it one more time, and this time it would grant her the gold and making her the AEW Women's World Champion.
So while she may have pinned the world champion once in the Eliminator match, it is worth mentioning that Toni Storm has been wrestling an incredible amount. Yeah. She could be the kind of champion where she just has her title. She knows she's going to defend it at Double or Nothing. She's going to end up defending it again at All In once we get through the Owen, and leave it at that. But instead, she has put up a challenge to all the slop tarts in the back and has been having these matches each and every single week, and a lot of them against 3 other competitors. So here's Toni Storm giving us more than what we deserve, honestly. So it just kind of makes sense that eventually, like, one of those quick pins is going to happen and she's going to be caught. And to be Mina, someone who's essentially coming back from her past, creating sort of a new identity for herself in AEW as someone who is all elite. This is just going to be a really great match because we know what we're getting here. We're getting timeless Toni Storm, who's one of the greatest wrestlers today in wrestling, versus Mina Shirakawa, who had an incredible run in Japan, who we've seen time and time again on AEW television, and she's just phenomenal. So as far as wrestling on the show, not even women's wrestling, I think this match is going to be absolutely wonderful. It's gonna slap. It's not gonna slop, but it's gonna slap.
Now, when we saw this match before, it was at Forbidden Door last year, and again, this was it was a very different Toni Storm. It was a Toni Storm that definitely had a knife pointed at her back, and we just weren't sure when it was going to be turned yet. And now to know that that factor is not involved in this match anymore. This is now Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa, and both ladies have one target, and it is the AEW Women's World Championship. I feel like with Toni kind of burning the candle at both ends, this could be the opportunity for Mina to seize. The fact that she already was able to catch Toni slipping after so many matches that she's been just grinding in on Dynamite and Collision, and to now know that, again, Mina knows what it takes to pin Toni Storm. Mm-hmm. And again, all it takes is that 3 count. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters but getting that 3. And if she can do it again, she's the AEW Women's World Champion.
And the winner of that match, whether it's Toni or Mina, will take that championship and go on to defend it at All In this summer, July 12th. That's right, at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, at All In. The winner of the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament, which I'm very excited about because we've got Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter. And I know that when Mercedes showed up, Jamie was still out, right?
Yes.
Because all I could see online was just the discourse of how much people wanted to see this match. Like, this was a dream match. And the fact that this is actually going to be happening this weekend on Sunday, I am so excited. Like, it doesn't even matter who wins this one. I'm just stoked. Like, it's one of those, I just get to sit and watch wrestling and just be excited and be happy that wrestling is the thing. Yeah.
Mercedes had her first AEW match last year at Double or Nothing when she won the TBS championship from Willow Nightingale, and thinking about the fact that Jamie was gone for a very, very long time, to the point of where here's the stat: the last pay-per-view that Jamie actually wrestled at was Double or Nothing in 2023 when she lost the AEW Women's World Championship to Toni Storm. And so thinking about the fact that Jamie has a chance to once again challenge for the AEW Women's World Championship and go on to face the very woman who took the title from her in the first place and put her on the shelf for a year and a half. Jamie has everything to gain here. But at the same time, you want to talk about people with something to gain. Talk about Mercedes Moné, who just recently lost the New Japan Strong Women's Championship and is feeling a little light with the gold and could sure use another piece of gold around her waist. How about 2? Because she could possibly win the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament, walk away with that belt, and then challenge for the AEW Women's World Championship at the biggest stage AEW has, All In Texas, and become the AEW Women's World Champion and have, what would that be, 5 pieces of gold around her waist?
Oh my God.
Like, it would be insane. And that feels like something Mercedes would be up to doing. And so this could be, everyone has something to gain in this match. Everyone has something to lose in this match. I feel like these two have to win. But there can only be one winner. You can only have one winner of the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. And I don't know who it's going to be. And
the winner is the fans. That's
the winner is the fans. Yes, absolutely.
We can't talk about the Owen Hart Foundation Cup without talking about the other side of the tournament. We've seen the women. They're going to be challenging each other, the winner going on to All In Texas. But we also have the men's side. We have Will Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page facing each other for the winner of this match wins the Owen Hart Foundation Cup, and they go on to challenge for the AEW Men's World Title at All In Texas. This is crazy. There are so many stipulations and so many outcomes that happen. Like, I was already excited for All In. Like, I bought my mom plane tickets. It's going to be exciting. But now there's a chance that I could see either Hangman or Will Ospreay challenging for a title at Globe Life Field. This is crazy.
This feels crazy. I can't believe this is a match that's actually taking place. This is a dream match for so many AEW fans. It's a dream match for professional wrestling fans. And knowing that either one of them, it's a great problem to have, that either one of these guys has a solid case to make to becoming the next AEW World Champion and challenging for this title at All In. But it can only be one. And it's hard to say which one it's going to be. It's either Hangman gets his redemption or Will Ospreay fulfills his destiny. Because everybody knows he's a future world champion. It's just a matter of when. And this could possibly be his moment. But at the same time, Hangman has been missing that gold for far too long.
It's one of those things where if you told me the winner is going to be someone who is an incredible wrestler, a kind human being, a beautiful blonde who has won the hearts of AEW fans, I don't know who you're talking about, because that's both of them.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And it feels like, when you hear those screams happen the second those two are in the ring together, like, that's how you know you've got something magic. And Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing feels like magic. It feels special. You want to watch Double or Nothing. You want to be a part of Double or Nothing. AEWTix.com is the way to be there. Desert Diamond Arena, Glendale, Arizona. You have to join us on pay-per-view if you can't be there. Traditional pay-per-view. We are on YouTube. And don't forget, folks, that we also want you to continue to check out this podcast. And this podcast is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autographed memorabilia or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And check out the video episodes on our YouTube channel and see our pretty faces. AEW Unrestricted, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And are you an AEW insider? Get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today at AEWTix.com. And don't forget, AEW Dynamite on TBS Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and streaming on Max. And AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT, also streaming on Max. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. I'm Will Washington. She is Aubrey Edwards. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Peace.